Hello everyone, as a child one of my most favorite sweets were these gummy worms with different flavors, and today I decided to make a huge version of it. Our first taste will be unusual, carrot. We take a basin and begin to peel the carrots with a vegetable peeler. The clean and peeled carrots are sent to the basin. And so we clean out all 30 kilograms. We filled the base with a large bunch. Now we take a juicer, substitute in the juice bowl, and turn the carrot into carrot juice. The first bowl was filled, and we will accumulate juice in buckets. Therefore, we pull it from the bowl. Carrots are not very juicy, so the cake container has already overflowed. We clean it. And continue in the same spirit until we completely empty the bowl. Done. The result was 10 liters of juice. And the second flavor will be orange. Pour the fruit into the sink. Fill it up with water. And each orange needs to be thoroughly washed. In order to extract the maximum from an orange, you need also its extract. To do this, remove the thinnest top layer of zest with a vegetable peeler. It is in that aromatic essential oils are stored. We cut off the zest of about 10 oranges, and now we chop it up with a knife. We will extract the fragrance using the Socolite extractor. We send a piece of gauze to the extraction flask. And fill it to the brim with our orange peel. Another one of gauze. And we move on to the second flask. It's a refrigerator. To make it work, it needs to be filled with as cold of water as possible. The hole is sealed with tape so that it doesn't leak out. Done. The last flask remains, and we will pour 2 bottles of alcohol into it. After all, it is alcohol that dissolves essential oils well. We assemble a system of these 3 flasks. We take an electric stove and put an extractor on it, and turn it on at medium power. The alcohol heats up, and as soon as it reaches 78 degrees, it begins to boil, and steam rises up through our system. As soon as it reaches the refrigerator, it immediately cools down. And in the form of condensation, it flows into the extractor where it dissolves the essential oils contained in the orange peel. Subsequently, alcohol with a powerful orange smell flows back into the lower flask. And so on in a circle. An hour later, the natural orange flavor is ready, and it is very rich. Back to the oranges. Citrus juicer, 2 buckets. A sieve goes on top, and you can start. Cut the oranges in half. The pulp is pressed against the juicer, and it squeezes out the juice as efficiently as possible. We filled up our first cup. You can pour through a sieve into a bucket. And we throw out all the gelée particles so that the sieve does not clog. We pass all the oranges through the juicer. And we're left with 10 liters of juice. As a mold for the worm, we'll use a corrugated pipe. Normal people use it for hoods. We stretch it to a length of about 1.5 meters. Done. We also need 2 balloons. Inflate them so that they stretch to the maximum. The main thing is not to burst yourself with such tension. And we blow it back. We cut off the narrow neck and pull on one side of the tube. This is necessary so that the edges of the future worm are rounded. We connect the plastic clamps together and fix the ball with them so that it doesn't fly off. On the other side of the pipe, we pour some oil and turn the pipe to lubricate every fold inside. That's it, the oil can be drained. The second ball is dipped in oil. Turned right inside out. And also pulled onto the pipe. And we fix it exactly the same way. And in the middle of the pipe, we make a small incision. And we bend it a little bit so that there's a little bit of place to pour the Jell-O. To separate the layers, insert the cardboard. And so that it doesn't pop out, fix it with a screw. We proceed to the preparation of the jelly itself. We need 2 large pots. And pour 2 types of juice into them. To make the taste richer, add citric acid and sugar. And our flavoring is also added to the orange juice. All of this is thoroughly mixed. Now you need 10 kilograms of gelatin. The strength of gelatin is measured in grams. If it stores about 150 bloom, then we have 250. In journal, it's much more powerful. We fill it with a measuring cup and put it in there into the saucepan, stirring constantly. Five kilograms of gelatin should be poured into each of the juices. It immediately swells up and our juices no longer looks like liquid. We put the pots on the stove. Turn on the burners. And start mixing up our mass. After 40 minutes of continuous stirring, the gelatin is finally melted. We transfer the pans closer to the mold. We collect another hot mass and pour it carefully into the mold. This way, we gradually fill out our form completely with fruit jelly. Then we remove the partition. And I gotta say that this was in vain because it was necessary to wait for the jelly to set a little bit. We turned on the air conditioner and let the form all night sit. The next morning, the jelly was completely frozen. Let's cut the shape lengthwise. And begin to open it. After that, we simply roll our giant jelly worm onto the table. And it turned out to be the right shape. Every fold of the pipe was imprinted. But the tastes, unfortunately, are kind of mixed. We got a carriage orange worm. But that's not all. We remembered that there are still such worms in the dusting with a richer taste, and decided to do something similar with our own. Just sprinkled it with citric acid, and sugar. Well, let's cut off a piece and try it. Hello everyone, today we are going to cook an unrealistically long shawarma. Presumably it will take 4 days to prepare it. The first day, let's start it by marinating a whole chicken. To do this, take a pot of water and send in 6 tablespoons of salt, 6 tablespoons of sugar, a mixture of peppers, coriander, and bay leaves, After that, we send the pan to the burner and boil for 15 minutes. We leave this brine outside to cool and immerse the chicken so that the marinade completely covers it. We send this into the refrigerator for 3 days. It is necessary that this brine completely penetrates the chicken. The second type of meat will be such a lamb cut. We make incisions between each rib. After which we pass under the rib itself with a knife. and completely cut it out, while losing as little meat as possible. Repeat this with all the remaining edges. Done. All the edges are removed. The part of the cut that is thicker, we cut. And unfold, so that the whole piece of meat turns out to be the same thickness. We turn the cut to the other side and cut out the small bones remaining from the spine. And cut off any excess fat. For the marinade at the market, we collected a set of spices for the lamb. Pour this into a bowl. Also open up some homemade ajika. And pour that into the bowl as well. Add a lot of salt. And pour in some oil. Now all you need to do is just mix it all up. We transfer this all to the piece of meat and rub the marinade thoroughly with our hands. We roll this all up into a really dense roll. And transfer it to some food film. And seal the roll tightly. Now we leave this in the refrigerator for 3 days. Day 2. We decided to make one of my most favorite but very long in cooking, nar sharub sauce. It's a pomegranate sauce. To clean them quickly, cut off the top of the pomegranate. Now the white membranes are visible between the grains. That's exactly what you need to make the incisions on them. We open up the pomegranate. And now we just knock out the juicy seeds with a tablespoon. Also, these white membranes can interfere with the loss of the seeds. We remove them as well. We repeat the same thing with the rest of the pomegranates. We're left with a lot of juicy seeds. We need to get the juice out of them, so we just crush them. Done. Now we put a sieve on the saucepan and filter out all the juice. Squeeze out the remaining juice from the grains with a tablespoon. Done. We got the purest natural pomegranate juice. We put this on the stove and wait until it boils. After that, we make the heating less than average so that the juice barely bubbles. And after about 6 hours, it evaporates to such a state of syrup. Pour it into a bowl. After cooling, the Nahara sauce is completely ready. Day 3. Let's start with carrots. We've cut them in half, then try to cut them into as thin slices as possible. And then we chop them into thin straws. Done. We transfer the sliced carrots into a bowl and salt them. And carefully rub it around with our hands so that the carrot releases its juices. Let's crush a garlic head. Then peel a couple of cloves. Crush them and grind them into the bowl. Throw them in there. Here are a couple of pinches of sugar. Put a saucepan on the stove and pour some oil into it. A mixture of peppers with peas in a mortar. And grind that into the powder. Let's set it into the oil. This includes marjoram, turmeric, ground coriander, and mustard peas. We heat the spices in oil so that they reveal their flavor to the maximum and pour them into the carrots. Now mix it up. Now we just need to add some apple cider vinegar, mix for one more time, and put this all into the jar. We leave this to marinate for 1 day in the refrigerator. For the main sauce, let's squeeze out some mayonnaise, kefir, and sour cream into a bowl. For spices, add some hot pepper, curry seasoning, hopsunelli, and salt. Finally, chop up some dill. Crush some garlic and dice finely. Add to the sauce and mix it up well. The sauce is ready. Now let's take some cabbage and cut it in half, and finally chop it. Transfer to a bowl. We'll need it for tomorrow. And the last thing we need to do for today is make some pita bread. Pour some flour into a bowl, add salt, pour in a little bit of oil, and some boiling water. Knead the dough first with a spoon, and then with your hands. Dust the table with flour, tear off part of the dough, and roll it into a thin layer. Done. Now let's chop some wood. In order for the lavash to have the smell of smoke, we will cook it on a campfire. Put some dry fuel in the oven and ignite. We install a large frying pan in the oven and spread the dough out on it. Meanwhile, we roll out the next piece. Bubbles begin to appear on the lavash bread, so we turn it over. And for another minute until it's ready. We send the next layer of dough onto the frying pan. After that, we wrap it all in plastic wrap so that the pita bread remains soft. Now we've got our 4th day up, the largest day in terms of work. The chicken has already been completely marinated, and we will smoke it in a smoker. We fill up the coal, and we distribute it with a distributor. Then we take some wood chips from a fruit tree and scatter them on top of the coal. And ignite it on one side. The coal will gradually burn out, and the smoked chips in this system should be enough for the whole day. We soak the chicken with paper towels so that there is no moisture left on it. We close the compartment with coal, and we send the chicken itself to the second one. Smoke will pass right through it, and by evening it will be super smoked. That's it. Let's close the smoker. Potatoes will also go into our shawarma, so we peel them. And cut it first into some thick slices. And then into cubes, like French fries. Done. We light a good fire on the stove, pour a lot of oil into the frying pan, and fry the potatoes. Stir it every couple of minutes so that they're all golden all over. We put the finished potatoes on a tray. The third type of meat in our shawarma will be beef, namely beef cheeks. It is necessary to thoroughly clean them from a very large number of films. Done. Thoroughly salt. Pour some oil over it. And rub that all into the cheeks. First, fry them on the gas grill for literally 2 minutes. And turn them over. You need to get a good crust on them. After that, we put the pan on the stove and transfer the meat into it. Pour some red wine on top. Put a sprig of thyme in there and rosemary. Top up with water and cover with a lid. We leave them to languish slowly for 4 hours and they're ready. In the grill, we put a bowl for ignition. Fill it with coals. Set fire to the dry fuel. And put the coals on to ignite. We take out our lamb roll from the refrigerator, which has been marinating for 3 days, and cut it into pieces right in the film. We put them on skewers so that the rolls do not unwind. Done. The coals are already well lit. Put them onto the grill and distribute. That's it. We're going to start frying our shish kebabs. That's for 5 minutes, and we turn over the skewers. We put the ready-made shish kebab on a tray. But of course, such meat will not go into the shawarma itself in the form of a kebab. We remove it from the skewer and cut them into very thin slices. The slices are then transferred to a tray. At a very low temperature, our chicken was smoked all day. And this grill is definitely ready. It turned out very beautiful. We take it out of the smoker. And we cut it up too. Finally chop the chicken. And send that over to the lamb. Now it's time for the beef cheeks. The meat has been languishing for a very long time, so we don't cut into it. It simply tears into fibers, and send the third type of meat to the tray. Tomatoes and cucumbers will also come from vegetables, so we cut them. So, all the ingredients for our shawarma, which we've been preparing for 4 days, are ready. Let's finally assemble a shawarma. We put the main sauce on the pita bread. Spread out the beef. Potato. Tomatoes for juiciness. And the super smoked chicken meat. We spread out some cucumbers, cabbage, Korean-style carrots, pieces of lamb. Pour all this over with the divine Narsha rub sauce. Roll up our shawarma. Now we just need to grill it. Done. Our shawarma, which we've been cooking for 4 days, is completely ready. Let's cut into it.